Okay, let's unpack this. We were taking a deep dive into historical economics today, but definitely not in a dusty academic way.
Right.
We're looking at sources detailing life during the Great Depression,
Yeah.
at a time of extreme scarcity, and pulling out 10 specific skills that feel, well, eerily essential right
They
now.
really do, with rising costs and inflation. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's a really crucial connection to make. The 1930s, it forced people into this mindset of absolute resourcefulness. They really had to learn how to make do with almost nothing.
Mhm.
What we realized from, reviewing these practices, that they're not just like quaint old habits, they're fundamental, resilient life skills.
Yeah.
Our goal today might not be purely survival in the same way, but that idea of self-sufficiency, well, these skills are basically the blueprint. They help save significant money, cut waste, and ultimately live smarter.
So our mission today, then, is to get past just knowing these ideas exist and really understand the mechanisms behind these 10 Depression-era habits.
Yeah, the practical side.
Yeah. We want to give you, the listener, actual tools you can use to bring some real frugality into your life. So let's start right inside the home. Let's look at the core philosophy of, like, a zero-waste household, valuing and keeping what you already own.
Absolutely. The key thing here is pushing back against that throwaway culture we have now, and that starts with maintenance.
Which brings us straight to skill number 1.
Yeah.
Make, do, and mend. We hear the phrase, but what did it actually look like back then?
Well, clothes weren't seen as disposable, not like today.
Right. Not fast fashion.
No way. Garments were long-term assets. You couldn't just, toss a shirt because it was a bit worn. The skill wasn't just owning a needle and thread.
Right.
It was more about the mental calculation. You knew the labor, the real cost of that item. So it felt wrong, culturally unacceptable to just discard it. We see evidence of families teaching darning for socks, literally weaving new yarn into worn-out heels, rebuilding the sock.
Wow, rebuilding it.
Yeah. It saved them cash on buying new ones, obviously. And today, that same mindset directly combats the huge waste from fast fashion.
That respect for fabric, it seems like it carried over to everything else too.
Yeah.
Tools,
Mhm.
furniture, which is skill number 2.
Yeah.
Repairing and reusing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our sources show this applied to, well, pretty much everything. Furniture, appliances, farm tools, you name it.
So what's interesting there, the ingenuity.
Oh, the ingenuity born of necessity is fascinating, yeah. If something broke, the first thought wasn't, where can I buy a new one?
No.
It was, how can I fix this? What do I already have that I can use? This created a whole, economy of repair.
An economy of repair, I like that.
You hear stories of people using old tire scraps to fix shoe soles, or paying traveling repairman tinkerers with food, not cash, to fix a kettle.
Ah, okay.
That deep habit of fixing instead of replacing, that's the key difference. And honestly, it's probably the fastest way to save hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars a year right now.
Okay, so mending clothes, fixing objects, wrapping up this whole zero-waste mindset is skill number 3. Using every bit, this feels like the absolute core, no waste.
Absolutely. Waste was almost seen as a moral failing back then. You have to
Yeah.
think about the sheer effort it took just to survive.
Right.
So bacon grease wasn't thrown out. Strained, saved in a jar, used for cooking the next day. Vegetable scraps, simmered into broth. Old bread. Never went stale, really.
How so?
It got turned into bread pudding, or maybe used to thicken soups. Everything had a next use.
And this is where that incredible phrase comes from, right? The one that sort of defined the generation.
Oh, yeah. The ultimate challenge to how we live now. Use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without.
Use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without. Powerful.
It really is. If you truly adopt that, it forces you to be so intentional about what you consume. It's almost revolutionary today.
Okay, so respecting materials was step 1, but respecting food, that must have been absolutely critical too. Vital. Which shifts us neatly into the self-sufficient food economy. This is where frugality really met creativity, I think.
Yeah, it had to. Money for groceries was probably the tightest budget line for most families. So skill number 4, cooking from scratch.
Right. And this is where you really see how much convenience food costs us now. In the 1930s, meals had to be simple, cheap, and critically designed to stretch.
Stretch meaning last longer.
Yeah, often across 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
They relied heavily on staples beans, oats, cornmeal, potatoes, big batches of things like stews or casseroles that could be slightly changed each day.
Ah, okay, so one big cook-up lasts a while.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
savings are huge. You buy cheap base ingredients in bulk, you cut out packaging costs, and you completely control the nutrition.
It feels like a grounding skill, too. And connecting this, once you start cooking from scratch, you probably quickly realize how much better and cheaper it is if you control the source of your ingredients.
Precisely, which leads naturally to skill number 5, growing your own food.
The victory gardens, right? Though maybe they started earlier.
Yeah.
The idea definitely gained steam during the Depression. Yeah, even before the war, pushed victory gardens so hard. People cultivated small plots wherever they could. Backyards, community spaces.
It wasn't a hobby then.
No, it was about survival, supplementing tiny budgets with essential vegetables.
And that's incredibly scalable now, isn't it? You don't need acres.
Not at all. Even a balcony garden with herbs, tomatoes, leafy greens, it makes an immediate dent in your grocery bill for those high-value items.
Plus, you get fresh produce. It's an instant win for self-sufficiency.
But, okay, so you get good at growing food. You nail skill 5.
Ah.
Now you have a new problem.
Too much food at once. Perishability.
Exactly. If you had a bumper crop of something, letting it spoil just wasn't an option. Couldn't afford to. So that necessary next step. Skill number 6, canning and preserving.
Right. Pickling, canning, drying.
Right.
All that stuff. It sounds simple, but historically, there was a real economic calculation there, wasn't there?
Oh, absolutely. What's fascinating is the economic logic. You're basically locking in low-cost food for the future. Well, say you bought peaches super cheap at the peak of the season. Canning them meant you had affordable fruit available in the dead of winter when fresh peaches would be non-existent or incredibly expensive.
Smart. It's practical, sustainable, saves trips to the store later on.
Definitely. But we should also remember the skill involved. It took precision. Historical accounts mention, the risks of improper sealing leading to illness. So it was a high-stakes skill, demanded care.
Wow. It really sounds like this whole circular food system built out of, well, desperation, but also incredible diligence.
It really was.
Okay, let's pivot a bit. We've talked materials, we've talked food. What about creating value outside of spending actual cash?
Yeah. This brings us to community, non-monetary exchanges, and just pure self-reliance.
Because cash was so scarce.
Extremely scarce. But people still had time, they had labor, they had specific skills, and those were valuable commodities.
Which sets the stage perfectly for skill number 7, bartering and trading. The community became the bank, in a way.
Precisely. Trading goods and services was essential when cash wasn't flowing. Think a farmer trading eggs for someone to mend a dress.
Or like a carpenter fixes a leaky roof.
In exchange for maybe a few hot meals. Exactly. It wasn't just a swap, it was social glue. It built community because you relied on your neighbor's skills.
And maybe we're not trading chickens for dental work today.
Probably not.
But the idea still works, right? Local skill swaps, Facebook groups, even just favors between neighbors.
Totally. It's a powerful way to use what you already can do to get what you need without spending money.
But that ability to trade services relies entirely on having useful skills in the first place.
Which leads straight into skill number 8, learning practical DIY skills. The level of self-reliance back then was, well, staggering, because it had to be.
It feels like it went way beyond just being handy. What was the real value in knowing how to do everything yourself?
So what is huge, it wasn't just about saving the cost of hiring someone. Those skills, fixing basic plumbing, making soap, churning butter, whatever it was, that was social capital.
Right, something you could trade.
Or just use to keep your own family going directly. It kept household running costs almost at zero. And it built this deep sense of personal confidence, knowing you could handle problems yourself.
Okay, shifting again. What about things that weren't strictly necessary, like gifts, celebrations? How did that work when money was so tight?
That's where the Depression really redefined gift giving, leading to skill number 9, homemade gifts and crafts.
So less about buying stuff.
Much less. Gift giving became about creativity, about the time you invested, never the price tag. The sources highlight this deep appreciation for gifts that showed personal effort.
Like what?
A knitted scarf, a jar of that jam you preserved, maybe a hand-stitched toy, even just beautifully written letters or poems, things that took time and care.
Honestly, those gifts often mean more anyway, don't they?
They absolutely do. They have that personal touch. And practically speaking, it saved people hundreds, potentially, during expensive times like holidays. It forces you to value thoughtful expression over just buying something.
Okay, we're at number 10. This feels like the big one, the foundation for everything else we've talked about.
It really is. The ultimate skill, the philosophical key maybe to navigating scarcity, living within your means.
Sounds simple, maybe obvious, but I bet it was practiced with an intensity we just don't see much today.
It was absolutely non-negotiable. The core action was brutally simple. Spend less than you earn, even if earning meant very, very little.
Right.
It meant fiercely avoiding unnecessary debt. Credit wasn't really a thing for most people, or it was incredibly risky. But maybe the most important part was psychological.
How so?
Learning to find actual joy, real satisfaction in simplicity, not constantly needing to acquire more stuff to feel okay. The goal was resilience through contentment, knowing your basic needs were met without needing, external validation from buying things.
So if we just quickly recap this whole deep dive,
Right.
we've hit 10 really practical skills. Mending, repairing, using every bit.
Cooking from scratch, growing food, preserving it.
Bartering, learning DIY, making gifts, and underpinning it all, living within your means. These really do transition incredibly well from the absolute necessity of the 1930s to the financial pressures we feel now.
They're not just relics. They are a truly timeless blueprint for self-sufficiency, for resilience.
Resourceful, intentional, grateful. That seems to be the core philosophy.
Exactly. And the real power for you listening now is in applying that mindset, not just picking one or two tactics. We've reviewed the how-tos, the foundational skills. But the deepest lesson from the Depression era seems to be finding profound value in simplicity and intensely respecting every single resource you possess.
Right.
So this raises, I think, an important question for all of us today. If we know that intentional, simple living builds security and resilience, how can we really commit to that mindset? How do we spend wisely when everything in modern society seems to push us towards replacement over repair?
Towards debt over saving.
Towards consumption over preservation. That countercultural mindset, that deep respect for resources, that is the habit truly worth keeping alive today.